Tuperos y tuperas, today on DOOP By The River. Today was a monumental, historical day in Philadelphia Union history. It's no secret, Brenden Aaronson is gone, and he will be heading to Salzburg. But we still got a little time with him, so let's enjoy it while it's still here. We're going to review the DC United match, what the heck happened down in DC, while we're also going to look ahead at next Monday Night Football's game as we face off against the New England Revolution. Don't go anywhere, because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP By The River. And let's get this started. Hey, and that is right. Welcome everyone to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. And before we get started, guys, do not forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. It would truly mean the world to us. We just love to be your favorite Philadelphia podcast, and we would love every bit of support you can send our way. Joining me today to talk about everything Philadelphia Union. This is going to be a historical, it's going to be a fun, memorable episode of DOOP By The River. I got my man, Mr. Tim Lomagoo, to break everything down. What's up, Tim? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, man. I feel like $6 million. I don't know about you. Maybe $9 million.
Maybe $9.
No, I'm feeling great.
It is a great day, man. If you are a Union fan, listen, you have been waiting for a day like this for a while. Last season, right? We saw the most expensive sale that we've ever made, right, in Marco Fabian. And now we are talking about the biggest sale in our Union history, selling one of our players in Brenden Aaronson. It's crazy. We went through 10 years of some mediocre soccer to what we're seeing now. You go on the Twitter feeds today, all you see is Brenden Aaronson, and it's great to see. You absolutely love to see it, and the future is looking bright down in Chester, Tim. It really is, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, let's dive right into this, because obviously this is what everyone wants to talk about. So Brenden Aaronson will finish out the rest of the season with the Philadelphia, but starting in 2021, he will go over to Red Bull Salzburg in the Austrian Bundesliga, where they are the big dogs. He's going to a big club in Austria. The deal was he was sold off for $6 million. There is a potential of it being $9 million, with $3 million being in incentives. And when Salzburg sell Aaronson, and I'm saying they will, it's going to be for an even nicer deal. The Philadelphia will get 10 to 20% of that sale. So that is, guys, this is what we've been waiting for a long time. This is absolutely incredible. Let's talk about it first. Tim, your thoughts on just like the details of the sale of Brenden Aaronson. We've been waiting for this for a while, man.
Yeah, like you just said, it's been a while here. As Ernst Tanner kind of mentioned in a press conference that he gave today on, recapping this, there have been conversations, going back almost a year and a half with Salzburg about Brenden Aaronson specifically. But there was no real motion on a contract or a transfer until September. So until we kind of heard the rumblings last month, there wasn't really much actual negotiation going on. But my first thought was, holy crap, Ernst is a wizard. Ernst Tanner is a wizard. I don't understand how he can, how he works with these sort of things. With Brendan's value, I thought he would be valued probably around $3 or $4 million, and I thought that would be an amazing haul for the Union for their first big transfer of a homegrown to Europe. But when you're starting at $6 million, and then you talk about possible incentives of getting $3 million more and $9 million in a transfer fee, that's huge. And then even bigger is the 10 to 20% sell-on clause that the Union will get a kickback for when Brenden does move to an even bigger club. And
didn't McKinney didn't FC Dallas get like 1 to 2 for McKinney?
I think so. I'm not sure the amount of money that they actually got, but I know that they did get the kickback there for that transfer. So it's a similar situation. And like you said just now, like if we then 2 years, 3 years or sooner down the line get even another million for a player that hadn't then played for the Union in a year or 2 or 3. Like that's amazing. That's just some great business there. And from what Ernst was sharing as well this afternoon, it sounded like there were only pros and no cons to this deal for both sides. Salzburg is going to get an amazing player that really fits into their system. Brenden actually talked about that in the press conference as well. He talked about the system that he's been told that he's going to play, and so we can kind of jump into that too. But then for the Union, getting some money back that is needed to help the infrastructure of the club is going to be big as well.
Absolutely, man. I think that this is the best possible scenario for both sides. The Union get the money that they have been wanting to try to get for their first sale in its young history. Brenden goes over to a Salzburg club. Well, let's face it, we know here in America, the Red Bull, New York, and Salzburg teams, those are development clubs. Let's be honest here. But this is the best case scenario for Brenden, getting adapted to the European game. Salzburg does play Champions League, like we did mention. So he's going to be able thrown in the fire right away. And we already know here in Philly, he works well when he's thrown in the fire right away, aka the Atlanta game last season. But I digress. Jesse Marsch, the relationship Jim has with Jesse, and the fact that Jesse's an American, and Jesse is, let's face it, Jesse now is the most successful American coach ever to play or coach in Europe. And he's now going to get hopefully one of the future piece of the U.S. men's national team midfield. So this is going to be great. I think that Brenden is going to fit very well in the Austrian Bundesliga is similar to the Bundesliga in the styles of the way they play. I think that Brenden is suited for the Bundesliga, where I believe he will be one day, whether it's with Leipzig or whether it is with Gladbach. Maybe Gladbach sees what goes on in Salzburg and they want to maybe do the sale at that point, because we do remember they were pretty interested in Aaronson, but I guess Salzburg seemed like a better situation for him overall. So the next thing I want to talk about here, Tim, is the significance in our club's history, because, Brenden now is reaching, this is one of the most historical moments in our young club's history, we had our first big buy, Marco Fabian, getting our first playoff win, and different stuff like that. And now we have our first big sale. So let's talk about, what does this mean for our club's history?
Yeah, I think it's obviously, this is one of the biggest days, if not the biggest day in club history. I know the playoff win is what it is, and that's, that should be, up there. But this is the philosophy of the Philadelphia Union. And Ernst, Jim, and Brenden all talked about it in the press conference this afternoon, that the Union have really put in the time to develop these types of players. Ernst said that, he inherited it from some, great people, and from Richie Graham, specifically one of the owners who really wanted to do this. Jim said that all of the ownership had great foresight to really start this project, 10 plus years ago now, when all MLS teams were doing were buying older superstars, but the Union decided to go in a different direction. And now 10 years down the line, you're getting $6 million for a kid that you produced that was, made in your own backyard. Brenden said he remembered today, he remembered being in the stands for the first seasons and then starting off in the academy, and how that helped him, and the friendships and the life lessons. And he even mentioned school, like being able to do school while training twice a day with his club was like a huge aspect of his life, and he will never forget it, and that he was really grateful for it. So this is the model. This is it. This is what the Union have been building towards. And Brenden alluded to it as well. Like, he doesn't think that he's going to be the only one. He thinks that the guys coming up behind him, or even the guys on the first team now, some guys on the first team now will follow in these footsteps, and the club will start to have this reputation as being a club that sells or, develops players, gives them a place to grow, gives them a place to try to succeed in MLS, and then is a stepping stone for them to go off and play in bigger clubs and bigger competitions in world soccer.
But this is what you see worldwide. Like the big clubs, these guys, that's all they do. It's a culture that is built from within. And now, you start seeing Brenden Aaronson getting sold. Eventually we'll see a Mark McKenzie or Fontana, whatever it is. Yeah. And these kids are going to start seeing that, and they're going to start seeing Brenden playing, on Saturday mornings for a Bundesliga team or whatever it may be, or Premier League team, whatever it is. And that is going to build a cycle of players just coming up that, and it's possible. It's really, you just follow what these guys are doing right now, and you will get there too. I love the way we are building this team. I got to shout out my man Adam Booth. I want to be the Ajax of the MLS. If we are the Ajax of MLS, freaking sign me up. Let's win cups. Let's sell players, and I want to see all the uni. I want to see a bunch of uni players playing in Champions League. This is truly an exciting day.
Yeah.
Tim, what's next, man?
What's next? I mean, well, obviously for Brenden, being with the Union for the rest of the year is huge. He mentioned how he is ready to help the team in their goals. He said that the team's goals was to, compete for 2 trophies this year. And he said, they're on pace to do that, to compete for them. Obviously, we'll get into some of the things on the field. They need to do a little bit better, as we saw them not get a win that they really should have gotten down in DC. But in terms of the club, this is what's going to be the blueprint. This is what MLS is sort of trying to do as a whole league anyways. I mean, we saw what happened with Alphonso Davies, Weston McKennie, coming out of FC Dallas. This is what the MLS is going to try to do as well. So while I want the Union to be the Ajax of MLS, we could be seeing a bunch of teams potentially doing this. This is where a lot of the investment is going from the MLS in general. Obviously, they created the new academy system, and then they're the talks to create the new second division or developmental league as well, like we talked about on the last pod. And then getting the young kids to play in the first teams and then go to Europe. But for the Union, it's now focus is back shifted to can they win the Supporters Shield and can they go on a playoff run? And for Brenden, he's totally laser focused on that. He mentioned in the press conference, kind of to end it, like he's very happy that this day has come for him, but his goal right now is to help the team get that first championship. He wants to be on that team that does that.
And that's a great point there too, because I'm so happy that we got this deal done right now. Yeah. Because there's still it's the perfect timing, because now we're in the grunt of it. We are in the stretch of playoff positioning, and of course we want a playoff run. And dare I say, championship or bust, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely say it. It's we were saying off air. It's the Brenden Aaronson farewell tour. Like now that you've announced this move, like if you start losing games, it doesn't look very good. Like you have to go out on a high note. So that's what this is now. It's there's 5 games left in the regular season. You are 3 points behind in the Shield. Can you get it? Can you win that? Can you be the best overall team in MLS? And then after that, can you go on a playoff run and show that you can win more than one playoff game? I think this team is poised to do both, and we'll have to see if they're up for it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you got to go in every game. You have to win every single game going out. And obviously you're not going to win every single game, but that's the way you have to be, because of now what's on the line here. Brenden Aaronson is for sure going after the season. I'm sure Mark McKenzie's next. Yeah. I think that deal is going to be, sometime January as well, is going to get finalized. We've been talking about Fontana, the way he has been playing. Maybe next summer, if his time can come, you have guys like Jamiro Monteiro, Kasper Shabilko, and then we also have 2 other players that we've had some rumors on, Tim. Yeah. Let's start off with Kai Wagner. Yeah. Could this potentially be his last season as well?
I mean, it sort of makes sense. I think that was sort of the plan all along when Ernst brought him in. He was kind of, given the reins at left back while Matt Real kind of grew into the position. We've seen when Kai kind of goes down that Matt is good to step up and really play that position. So I think next year we'll see Matt Real, and I think Kai Wagner will most likely make a move to I would think back to Europe, but we'll have to see what happens with that. I believe his contract is close to coming up as well. I'd have to double check on that, but I think this was always sort of in the plans. And I think there was even talk about a move after last season, after his really good 2019 season. So I do think this is the last year we'll see Kai Wagner with the Union. I hope I'm wrong, because I do think he brings a great quality to the left back position for this team, helps spread the field and get forward in attack as well. So, like I said, I hope I'm wrong, but I think this will be the last year we see him here.
Yeah, it's weird because we we're hearing these rumors after a year. It's been a down season. Like, injuries don't help it, but just in general, I feel like he was much stronger last year. Now, I'm on the transfer market site as we speak.
Okay.
It doesn't have a fee. Like, they didn't put the fee from Warrisburg Kickers to Philadelphia,
Okay.
but from according to Transfer Market, his value right at the moment is 1.1 mil.
Okay.
That's not terrible. I mean, but I think we would take that from what we've seen in 2 seasons from Kai
Yeah.
Wagner.
Yeah.
And, Matt Real has been solid right now, so I wouldn't be mad if that's the case. If we can get $2 million, that'd be even better. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Ernst can tap into his Howie Roseman negotiating skills, not his talent evaluating skills, his negotiating skills, and we can get around $2 million for Kai Wagner there, man.
Yeah.
The other one I want to talk about is Sergio Santos, which was really interesting. Now, this one is not as credible maybe as the Kai Wagner stuff, but
Yeah.
because you were the one that told me this one, I'll let you talk about this one.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's been some rumors popping up on, from where we all get rumors from now on Twitter, different, random, whatever entity it is saying that Sergio Santos was linked to a team in Chile, and that it might be advantageous for him to take that move if he wants to someday play for the Chilean national team. If I know he has to play a certain amount of games in Chile to be able to do that. And I think he's obviously short right now, so we'll see. I don't really put much stock into this until I see more of the credible, reporters start talking about a potential move maybe after the season. Then maybe I'll consider it. But yeah, I think this one might not be anything. But who knows? I mean, Sergio obviously has a unique skill set in that he's strong, and when he can get into open space. Obviously his finishing is a little poor sometimes, but then there's other times where he has those flashes of brilliance. So if a team in Chile was interested in him, I wouldn't be surprised if the Union do have some contract talks, but at the same time, Union don't have that much striker depth right now. It's like the one position that they don't have like a young player ready to really move up the ranks. It seems like almost every other position they have someone. So maybe not, and maybe this is all just a fake rumor that got thrown out there on Twitter.
Yeah, I think that, listen, if he wants to make this move, and I completely understand why he wants to.
Yeah.
Just from seeing him on social media, he obviously loves his family, but he really embraces the Chilean culture. He did play down there, and I guess he fell in love with the country. Now his family is Chilean, so I could understand why he's doing that. But realistically, now, if you guys know my passion for the Colombian national team, I hate the Chilean national team, especially after last week. But I digress on that. But I'll be completely honest and being completely realistic. I don't know if Sergio could fit in as far as the forward rotation goes with Chile. Obviously, they need to start thinking ahead of, I think they're still pulling out Alexis Sanchez and Fabio and Vargas. But I don't really know if that's why I said I don't know how much I would read into that rumor because of I don't even know if Sergio could actually fit into the Chilean rotation. He's 26 right now. He's not like he's 24, 23. Like, so I don't know if that one's going to happen, but
right.
I think with Sergio, I love Sergio's game. The only thing that really concerns me is his finishing. Like you just said, at times his finishing is not as consistent. And then we see against Toronto up in UConn Stadium where he's got that beautiful tap in. Like it just needs to be a little more consistent. So hopefully, he keeps working hard, keeps improving. Obviously, down in Chester, they are emphasizing development, and soon enough, he could get a big deal from a bigger league, not just the Chilean league. So we'll see what happens there, man.
Yeah.
All right, Tim. Well, let's talk about it because I know you have a lot to say about our last match. The Philadelphia Union traveled down to DC. Both, Tim and I were feeling ourselves as Union fans. We thought that we would go down there and put the whooping on DC United, who's looked pretty bad this season, got a new coach, injuries. It's been a mess down there. But, Tim, DC United showed a little fight against us, and they had us on the ropes. They had the lead in this match. They absolutely had the lead in this match. And then until late, Mr. Mark freaking McKenzie, let's go, baby, with possibly a candidate for goal of the freaking season, man. First off, I want to start off with the segment by talking. I want you to let go of your frustrations. Let me know how this. Let's talk about this. Tell me about this game, and how did you feel after the game ended?
Yeah, this is just a huge disappointment for the Union, and it's weird to say that after a draw, but I mean that's what Curtin and the rest of the players sort of said in the the post-game press conferences as well. They took this tie as a loss because of the opportunity that they had. So with the Union's game being a half an hour later than the other contenders in the East, I'm not sure how much the team was scoreboard watching, but I know that's what a lot of fans were doing. So seeing Red Bull get a point against Toronto, and then Columbus losing to Cincinnati, and Orlando not being able to win, the Union had an opportunity to draw 1 point behind Toronto, in the East and the Supporters' Shield, if they could just beat the last place team in the East, DC United. And coming into the second half, that kind of became a reality. Anthony Fontana scores. Everything looks really good.
He's hot, Tim. He's hot.
Everything looks good, even though that goal was very sloppy and it just looked kind of crappy. But hey, a goal's a goal. You're up in a match, and then DC, who had done a really good job of making the entire game sloppy, just kept on pushing and kept on getting in the Union's heads. And the referee also let a lot of things go. So a lot of the chippiness of the match kind of escalated into, times where DC then was able to get on possession a little bit more than the Union probably liked, or were able to string a few passes together. And that's where you see that first goal off the set piece, off the corner kick. And then a few minutes after that, you get the penalty, which Bedoya's arm was tucked into his body, but the new handball rule that MLS then adopted from FIFA says that if the ball hits the hand, even if it's very unintentionally done, it's considered a penalty. I found it weird that the ref didn't at least go and look at VAR. They were talking the whole time, so I get that aspect. Like, he did consult with VAR, but at the same time, like, if you're unsure and this is a pivotal point in any match, it's 1-1, you're going to give a team a potential to take the lead, you should go look at the monitor at least. But he didn't. He allowed the penalty to be taken, and Assad stepped up and scored. And if it wasn't for Mark McKenzie yelling at Casper to not touch the ball and then striking that thing and saving the Union in that game, it could have been a really, really awful night. So that's why this tie feels like a loss. And that's why I think I'm frustrated. Union fans are frustrated, and the club is frustrated as well, because they had that opportunity. Everyone else dropped points. If you took all three from a team that you should take all three from, then it shows that you're for real, and it really would have even put even more pressure on those other teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just worried that, the last two seasons, I've seen the Union kind of stumble into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, last year it didn't hurt because, you beat the Red Bull. But even in that Red Bull match, you allowed 3 goals. But I really hope that, we're not seeing the Union stumble into the playoffs again, and then in the playoffs they find the light. They find the lightning in the bottle. I want them to go in, full force, full head of steam, and let's just dominate. You are a good soccer team. Yeah. Clearly, you're a good soccer team. Like, we are getting recognition from all over the world now. Let's definitely act like it. It was really, really frustrating. But let's talk about the Mark goal, because, in my opinion, Tim, this has now reached top 5 all time as far as Union goals. Now, obviously, the Glesnes one we saw at the beginning of the year, that's definitely up there. This one's a little similar. I think the Jakob one is a little farther. Am I correct?
Yeah. It was further, and obviously a dead ball, so it's a little bit different.
More advantage for Jakob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the distance,
this is to save points here. Like, this was the last 5 minutes of the game. Mark McKenzie, it took control of the situation and got that freaking goal. I mean, I don't want to put this as 1 because I had Glesnes as 1 after that, but I think I'm going to, man. I think I'm going him 1, Glesnes 2, and Pescaito 3.
For me, the oh my gosh, Pesquito goal. I can't remember his actual name, but I know that's
Carlos Ruiz.
Carlos Ruiz. Why did I
Well,
skip
that was
that?
at that time we had the two Carlos Ruizes in Philly.
That
We had
is very
Chooch and we
true.
had Pescaito.
It was very yeah, no, I still think that's the best goal in Union history, just because
Okay.
of the very awkward circumstances and the
It was.
spinning kick and the dip and the it was just a great goal. No, but the center back scoring bangers this year, like I understand why they're going to be up there right now. But yeah, that Mackenzie goal, the flight on the ball, while it did take a slight deflection, it was going in the net either way. Like there was no stopping it. Like it shot
Yeah.
out of a cannon. Like I don't all the descriptions that you want to throw on it. Like it is very impressive to see him do that. And for a player that's looking to move to Europe as well, it adds a little bit more, maybe another zero onto that.
Well, I was gonna say once that ball deflected off that one defender, $1 million went up on his transfer fee. So I don't know, man. All right, Tim. So I want to give a little recognition too to Anthony Fontana.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't like, dude. He is on fire over the last month. You know, what's it like 6? We're up to 6 goals now, or 5 goals now. In this season, and he's been getting. We were talking so much of why is he getting on the pitch? Why isn't Jim just bringing him off the bench? Like we've seen talent from him. He could definitely help you. You know, he finally proves to Jim, like, hey, give me more minutes. He's becoming the second super sub. Like, it's like pick your poison. You want El Sino or you want Font? Let us know. And with Brujo being out right now, which sucks, and we talked about that plenty over the past couple of weeks. Fontana has been stepping up. He's been in the starting rotation. With Crayval out, that's obviously hurt as well.
Yeah.
So he's definitely doing his part. There, Tim. Man, your thoughts on Font getting another goal here? It was the ugliest one of them all, but
Yeah, I mean, I was saying even before he was sort of getting that playing time, when all of the Brenden Aaronson rumors were first kind of swelling that he might be leaving, at that point we didn't know if he was going to be leaving, in this window or after the season. So for me, I was like, well, that's fine. If Brenden Aaronson leaves right now, then you plug in Anthony Fontana and you should feel fine about that. And so far, he's shown that with limited minutes, he's a goal-scoring number 10 who is willing to put in the work to press and play defense. For me, he's a different type of player. He's sort of like a Roland Alberg, like we saw, but he likes to play defense. That was the thing that Alberg didn't do for the Union, was he didn't play defense, but he would always score goals from the number 10 position. This sort of like what Anthony is doing right now. I think he's going to continue to get minutes or be that super sub, like you were saying. Obviously, in the upcoming match, Alejandro Bedoya is going to be out from yellow card suspension. So that opens another spot to potentially play Fontana and move some more, pieces around in the midfield against New England. So I think he's going to continue to run with the chances he's given, and he's shown that with the opportunities, he's going to produce, whether it's been goals or assists or just being a menace out on the pitch. Like he's shown that he's worth it.
absolutely. I mean, like you said, we're probably going to see more of him, and that raises the question too. Like, we're all excited about the homegrown system right now. Brendan being sold for a historical fee. Fontana seems to be next. Can we potentially see DeVries or even Cole Turner, get some minutes too? Maybe those could be
I hope
diamonds
so.
in the rough
Yeah.
as well.
I hope so. I mean, they were on the bench last game.
Yeah.
So was Meti Orvich, who's still nowhere to be seen. But these players, they're going to have to step up now with this Union team on the verge of potentially 2 trophies, and with suspensions, with some players, some injuries, and then some, quarantining going on. Like some of these players are going to be asked to step up either as a sub or from the start. And they're going to have to produce for this team to be legit. And I think that they're in a position to show us what they have. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Good stuff here, man. It sucks, we drew to DC United, probably the worst team. This might have felt worse than the Eagles tying to the Bengals. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but it is what it is. We're in the freaking playoffs, and we still have a good amount of soccer left to be played here. All right, Tim. Let's move forward though, man. So after that tie, we gotta wait a couple more days. Monday Night Football up in Gillette Stadium. Philly versus New England yet again for like the 1,000th time this season, yet alone. We're going to face off against those guys again. And look, New England just came off a solid win of themselves, getting that nice 3-2 victory over Montreal. But look, the fact of the matter is, we're going up against New England. Every time I see them, I literally go, they are a number 10 away from being a dangerous team.
Yep.
That's literally what I see on the pitch. What do you see? Like, is it going to be the same thing we've seen in the past couple games? Because that's what I'm seeing right now. Like, I feel like it's just going to be like the last couple games.
Yeah, I mean, we could literally cut and paste our previews from the last 2 or 3 New England matches in here.
Why do we even do this again?
Like you hit the nail on the head. They're a number 10 away from being a very good team in MLS. Right now, they're in 5th place. They're only 3 points out of a top 4 spot, and they're without Carlos Hill. They're number 10. And if he was healthy throughout the year, I think that he gives them a few more wins rather than the amount of draws they have. They have 7 ties this year. So I think if he was on the pitch for them, that they would be a top 4 team. That being said, they're going to play the same exact way they've played the Union every time this year. They're going to roll out in a 4-2-3-1. We're going to have to wait to see where Gustavo Bo kind of factors into things. He seems to be their X factor, whether he's playing as their 10, even though he's not a 10, or if he's on the wing, or if he's playing a little bit deeper. We saw a little bit too. Last match against that New England played against Montreal, he was actually on the bench. So we'll see what happens this coming Monday. I think he's their X factor, like I said, but New England, they just have a bunch of midfielders that they can throw in their midfield 5, and they're all kind of
so weird.
Like, they just have a laundry list of like MLS guys. They have, Kellen Rowe, Diego Fagundes, Lee Win, Kakuta Mane, Matt Polster is back with them now too. Teal Bunbury as a winger. Like, they just have so many different.
It's like the 2016 like all MLS team.
Yeah, even probably even before that, like go back to like 2014, 2013. Like, they have those players, right? They all have talent. Tommy McNamara, we didn't mention, Scott Caldwell. Like, they have a bunch of midfielders. It's just what the combination is going to be to try to play the Union well. And I don't think Bruce Arena has found that, obviously, as the results have shown. The Union have dominated New England since Bruce has been their coach. So yeah, he's going to try to tinker with that again.
Even their coach. Their coach is like 2013.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So yeah, I think that's really what New England's going to try to do. Is obviously they're going to play the same type of formation. It's just going to be Bruce Arena trying to figure out what 5 midfielders to play. New England got back their striker Adam Buksa in their last match, and he went off. He had an assist and a goal for them.
I know.
So he looks pretty good. At least he did against Montreal. So we'll have to see how he looks against a better defense in the Union.
So let me ask you, do they have a homegrown system or a youth academy?
They do. They have that one kid that was like coming up through the system.
Didn't Fagundes come through too?
Fagundes was, one of like their longest tenured, I think, homegrown. They have a few other kids. I'm spacing on the names. I think Tejan Buchanan is one of them.
Oh, right. I do remember.
They have a young striker as well, and the name is slipping me. It's happened a lot today. But it is what it is. They have some younger guys coming through their system. I don't think it's anywhere near what the top MLS academies are producing, at least at this point, from what I've seen, at least into first team integration. We haven't seen that. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye on it. I'm sure they have, players coming through their ranks, but it's not been like the Union. It's not been like Dallas or some other teams that have had a good academy flow to the first team.
I will say this, like, I bring this up only because I had a fantastic conversation about this with Kensington Soccer Club. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, like, there's a lot of MLS teams that don't take advantage of some of the inner cities that are near them. There is so much good talent in some of these inner cities. And, the Union haven't done a good job with our own inner cities, but they've gotten lucky with players in other areas. But I would expect, like, New England, who really haven't been hitting on homegrowns like that, to just dive into Boston and go into those inner cities, find those kids, those Mexican Americans or any of those kids that are in those inner cities and develop them, because you could potentially get studs out of that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Obviously, it's good news for us because we don't have to deal with that. But it's just a crazy theory. Like I don't understand. Like because you know where I come from, Tim, with this. Like I go to Colombia and I see kids with no shoes, with a raggedy ball,
Hmm.
and those are the type of kids that go on to have a solid career in Colombia, maybe Europe if they're that good. But we're not going into the inner cities and picking players. You'd be surprised how much talent you can find in some of these, less unfortunate areas.
Yeah. Yeah. I think New England's MO seems to not be to do that. I think a lot of MLS clubs aren't doing a good job with that, like you said. But it seems like New England's style is, like you said, to go through like the 2013, 2014 players that were good or players that have been on New England for a long time, and obviously Bruce Arena, who, coaching them, and run with those guys, and then make a few good signings as well to kind of complement them. So they have a good team. They have MLS vets, and then they have good designated players or TAM players or whatever that are on their team that kind of make the difference when they're there. But when they're not, it kind of shows. So like the team is, like we kind of said before the podcast, they are that team that is always right around or in the playoffs, but they're not one of the top teams. It wouldn't be surprising if they win one playoff game, but if then they'll lose to like one of the better teams in the playoffs. That's sort of their MO right now.
Man, they're like that NBA team that just is like middle of the pack every year. They just need to blow it up.
Yeah.
This is a little bit different. This is definitely a little bit different. All right, Tim, give me your key to the game and your prediction.
Yeah, my key to the game is sort of what it's been the last few matches in general. It's the Union's press. And I think the player, if I'm going to single someone out, it has to be Brenden Aaronson. After all the news today, the first time he gets to go back out on the pitch, all the eyes are going to be on him. The Salzburg guy now. What is he going to do?
What's up, Austria?
Right, exactly.
What's up, Austria?
What is he going to do? I think he's going to prove that he can be that versatile player that Salzburg wants him to be and that the Union need him to be successful. And I think that he finds a way to score a goal in a tight match here. I'm going to say the Union win 2-1. And they get winning ways.
Okay. Well, both our predictions were really wrong, obviously, last time against DC. I believe, look, without, like I said, without New England having a real number 10, it's like pretty one way that this team can play.
Yeah.
So I think if the Union continue doing, if Union play Union soccer, the high press, making New England force turnovers, then I think that there's no way that we don't win this game.
Yeah.
And in the Montreal game, you saw Montreal, use sort of like the similar type of style, and they weren't as successful, but we all know what the Union counterattack can do. I think that's going to be clicking. They're going to be the more physical team, and I got the Union winning here 3-2.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually brought that up, though. The Union need to be the more physical team in these types of games. We saw against DC that they allowed DC to be more physical and kind of get in their heads. If the Union allow that in this game against a team that is much better than DC, then it might be even rougher than what we saw last week. But I think the Union will learn from that. They will kind of, maybe get stuck in a little bit more, try to get in the heads of New England. We've seen that works against them in the past too, even on their coach. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Make a statement, guys. Make a statement. Put this New England team down. And Brenden, get a couple goals, huh? All right. Tim, we're going to end this show the way we always do. And that's where we're going to look at the predictions, man. We had some games over the midweek as well as our DC United match. And, of course, Tim and I always pick them. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to look back at what our predictions were and see how we did. And then, of course, we're going to predict these weekend games. Tim, are you ready, my man?
Let's do it.
Let's freaking do this. All right, so the first matchup here, I don't know why I can't see it on my screen. Here we go. All right, so first matchup, like we just talked about, Montreal and New England. You had a draw, Tim, while I picked New England to win, so I get the first one here. Awesome stuff. All right, so the next matchup we had was the Hell is Real Derby with a nice little upset by FC Cincinnati to get a 2-1 win. We saw 2 PKs in this match. Listen, this Derby is not that freaking bad, guys.
No, that's good.
You get some chippiness from both sides. You saw 2 PKs here. Cincinnati was able to get the difference maker. We both got this wrong, but still, what a good match that was.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, next matchup here, Tim, we got Orlando versus NYCFC. You had Orlando, I had NYC, and it turned out to be a draw.
Of course it did.
I mean, I expect a lot more. I expect some fireworks with those two sides, but the class of 2015 keeping it dull. All right. Toronto versus Red Bull. Tim, you were sniffing something there. You actually called this because you know it's true. New York, the Red Bulls and Toronto always you don't know what to expect from those two sides.
Yep.
It's always a fiery type of match, and they both teams drew there. You were on to something.
I remember shouting out Caden Clark before that, the young American attacker, and he's the one who scored that banger for them to get a point. So,
dude, he's gonna be good.
There's a reason he's already in his contract saying that he's going to Leipzig in a year or two. Like, there's a reason that was in his contract already.
Is he going to Salzburg at all, or is he just sticking New York to Leipzig?
They're sending New York to Leipzig, I believe, in 2022 is when that starts. So he has the rest of this MLS year and then a full year next year to play for the first team for New York, and then he's going right to Leipzig. Like, unless Leipzig want him sooner. That seems like to be the trajectory of this kid.
Now, is he a striker?
I don't know if he's a striker, if he's more of like an attacking midfielder. From what I've seen, I mean, most of the shots and chances that I've seen from him have been kind of long range. So, yeah.
Holy crap! We don't have to play the Red Bull the rest of the season, right?
We might meet him in the playoffs.
Oh no, I don't want to. Don't give me that. All right, let's keep moving here, Tim. So next up we have Houston versus Nashville. Nashville showed up big here with the huge 3-1 victory. We both got that wrong. Shouts out to all, the Nashville people down there. They have been huge, really big supporters of us, especially the DOOP By The River podcast. And they deserve some good soccer after what they've been through this season.
For sure.
So good for them. Good for them. All right, Tim, next up we have Miami and Atlanta. We both actually had Miami, and Atlanta somehow found a way to draw this game. Breck Shea with a goal again.
Breck Shea, MLS 2.0 coming back at you. Like, that's what's happening in Atlanta right now.
What's his beef with Atlanta?
I don't know, man. It's
he's got something against them.
I don't know. He didn't play much with them, so maybe that's it. I don't know.
Probably felt like he could have had more time there.
Maybe.
Okay. So let's move on here to FC Dallas and Sporting Kansas City. SKC. SKC got upsetted by FC Dallas. Dallas with a huge win there. We both got that wrong there, Tim.
Yeah, Dallas is trying to make a climb here into the top of the West.
I hope so for Fafa's sake.
Yeah, me too.
We're still rooting for you, Fafa, no matter where you are. All right. RSL in Portland, another upset here. RSL pulled one out of the bag and got a big victory against Portland, who was just destroying everyone, Tim.
Yeah. It's MLS. Anything can happen, and this midweek round of games kind of prove that. Like, top of the Eastern Conference dropping points, and same with the West.
That's crazy stuff, man. That's why you gotta love this league. You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
All right, we got Vancouver and LAFC. Another upset. The Western Conference giving us these upsets. Vancouver winning 2-1.
Yeah. The Western Conference is showing a lot of what the Eastern Conference used to be in MLS the last few years of just crazy results. And now it's kind of shifted over to the West, which has been fun to watch.
West has been tight the past couple seasons, but it's nothing. Asking Tim, it's kind of I don't know. It depends who you ask. Kind of upsetting. We both picked San Jose to win the California Classico over LA Galaxy, but dude, 4-0.
4-0, and Chicharito was the first sub out for LA. Like, I don't know what's going on there. It doesn't make sense. Like, first off, like to start their season, they were just crossing the ball to Chicharito, which is not really his strong suit anyways. And now, obviously, they just can't get anything going. It's just sad to watch, really.
Dude, they're wasting the talents of an Efrain Alvarez. They got Pavon there.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know what you do. I really don't know. Like this team, you know what the problem is that the Galaxy were sniffing themselves. I feel like because they were for a while. They were the Yankees. They were Dallas Cowboys. They were the Canadiens. But they lost that it factor. Every year you got to come in hungry. Every year is completely different, and they just don't have that mentality. They don't have that confidence they once used to have.
Yeah.
I just saw Klinsman's kid started in goal for the Galaxy too.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that happened to LA Galaxy was LAFC, and that's a discussion for another time.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. I don't know what's going to happen there, but they need to do something drastic over in Carson, California, to say the least. Yeah. All right, let's Tim, let's now look at this upcoming weekend's matches, and we will predict those. Hopefully, we got obviously we got a couple wrong because the Western Conference wants to be the Western Conference here. A lot of crazy results here. Let me get back to MLS.com so we can get our predictions here. All right, so Tim, our first match that we are going to predict, we got Chicago going up against Sporting Kansas City here. Now, obviously, Kansas City got upsetted the last match.
Yeah.
What do you see happening here?
I mean, how many times can this happen to Sporting? Like, this just seems like a club that should be right now at the top of the West, and they just keep they're hanging around there in third place. They're only a point off the top behind Portland and Seattle. But, like, can they actually do it? Now they have to go to Chicago, and it's that old Eastern Conference rivalry when Sporting used to be in the East. I don't know. Like, I think I have to go with a draw because Chicago's looked pretty good, and they look like a team that should be in the playoffs in the East. And right now I think the East is better than the West, so I'm giving Chicago a point at home.
What a crazy time we're living. East is better than the West. Holy crap. All right. I like your points. And I love that you threw back to some old school MLS vibes. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
But I just think that SKC, after getting upsetted the way they did, I think that SKC is going to come here with a victory over Chicago.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to show out. Really think they're going to show out. They're going to find the Chicago weaknesses, and they are going to get a huge victory here. All right, Tim, the next match we have is Montreal versus Miami. I will say here, I think this is a bad spot for Miami. This is a type of team in Montreal that works very hard. Yeah. And this is a Miami team that's still not clicking. You got some talented players, but you got to put it together. I think this is a recipe for disaster for Miami. I got Montreal getting a win here, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this is a big match for both clubs. Montreal's in 9th place on 20 points. Inter Miami is only 2 points behind them, but they're outside of the playoffs right now. But even then, it's Montreal at home, and they need to show that they can, be a playoff team. Thierry Henry's not going to want their team to lose 3 straight matches or even draw at home. So, yeah, I have Montreal as well.
Absolutely. All right, next match, we got Columbus going off against NYCFC. This one should be interesting to see. Tim, what do you got here?
NYCFC have shown well recently, and so has Columbus. 2 of the best teams in the East kind of squaring off. I know NYC has dropped a little bit in the standings. They're down to 6th place, but with a win, they would jump up to, I think they can only actually go up to 5th. So it's probably a bigger game for New York City. And I want to root for teams that are going to beat the teams around the union right now. So I'm picking NYCFC.
Okay. You got NYC. I think, you said it. This is going to be a good matchup. Both teams pretty close as far as, the quality of team they are. I think this is going to be a draw, though. I think NYC could come up with back-to-back draws here.
Okay.
All right. Next one, we got Red Bulls versus Orlando. Feels like these two played together like literally yesterday. But I think Orlando's going to get another victory here. Now I know Caden Clark, he's on fire. The Red Bulls have a little spark with him, but I think that Orlando is a serious team this season. I don't know how far they'll go in the playoffs, but I think they're serious. I got Orlando.
I think they're a serious team as well. But you can't stop the hot hand of Caden Clark right now. And I know that's weird to say as a Union supporter that the Red Bulls have their kind of new young star kind of coming up. I think they pull out a draw against a really good Orlando team.
Yeah, and this is what they were missing, right? They were missing that goal scoring threat because obviously
Yeah.
BWP's not there anymore, and
Right.
they may have finally found it, man.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, the next matchup we have FC Cincinnati going up against DC United, who we just saw got a huge draw against us. And Cincinnati got an upset as well. This one should be interesting. What do you see happening?
And DC's going to be chippy, and Cincinnati's going to sit back, and that's going to be the entire 90 minutes. But I think because of the way that DC have shown that they can fight, I think they're good for a goal while Cincinnati really isn't. I mean, they're good on set pieces, and if you get a PK, you get a PK. So I think DC wins this 1-0.
Wow, you got DC getting a win here. Maybe the tides are turning for DC, but I got a draw here. I think this is going to be a bad, boring game. Like you just said, Cincinnati's going to try to, just sit back while DC's going to try to be chippy, and that is just going to be a recipe for a 0-0 match, in my honest opinion. So I got a draw here between both those clubs. All right, the next matchup, Tim, we got TFC facing off against Atlanta United. If the circumstances were different, Atlanta had maybe some other players, I would say they would be motivated. They would want to get back at Toronto FC after last year's Eastern Conference final. But this is a different Atlanta team, and TFC are pretty solid. They dropped some points against the Red Bull. They're going to feel that. I got TFC just rolling over Atlanta here.
Yeah, I do as well. I think TFC win this one pretty easily, and that sucks. I know Atlanta's dealing with a lot of injuries right now, and I don't think they'll be able to cope. Especially, is this game at Toronto or at their home field now up in Yukon? And it is. So yeah, I think Atlanta doesn't get a win here. It doesn't get a draw. So it's Toronto.
Yeah, it's definitely weird times for Atlanta. The dynasty didn't last long there, Tim.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Tim, we got Minnesota versus Houston. Now, obviously, Minnesota didn't get to play midweek.
Yeah.
But what do you see happening here against Houston?
Yeah, if the game does go on, Minnesota really need to show that they can be a playoff team. They've dropped because they haven't been able to play recently. So they've kind of fell out of form here. I think that if the two teams do play, that Minnesota will find a way to win. Obviously, with Kai Kamara now leading their line, he's always good for a goal. So I think he'll provide the difference for Minnesota and get them 3 points.
Okay. This one should be interesting. Minnesota, obviously, not being able to play last game, I think it will affect them a little bit here. But I see a draw. I see a draw here between both these teams here. I think it could be like a 1-1 end here for Minnesota and Houston. Next up here, Tim, we got Portland and LAFC. These are two teams that got upsetted last week. But I think that Portland is going to bounce back here, and I got them getting the victory.
Yeah, I actually have the opposite. I think LAFC want to show that they should not be forgotten, even without Vela and without some of their other players. Like you said, Bradley Wright Phillips has been leading their line and scoring goals, as he always does. And I think that LAFC get a win against Portland to kind of bounce back from their own bad loss. And then in the last 2 weeks, they'll be able to say that they beat Seattle and Portland.
That'll be a nice little resume there.
Yeah.
All right. Next game here, we got the LA Galaxy versus Vancouver. Tim, I mean, do we both on agreement on a team here?
Yeah, I think we do.
I think it's the Whitecaps.
Yeah, it's the Whitecaps, and that's really odd to say. Like, with the talent of LA Galaxy, they should be able to beat them at home, but they're not going to. They're going to lose.
They need to wipe the They need to wipe the slate clean, man. This is just a bad era of Galaxy soccer.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Burn down Carson. All right, last game here. We got San Jose versus Seattle. This one's interesting to me because you can say that Seattle should walk away with this, but something tells me San Jose is going to make this really interesting. I'm going to go my upset special here. The Western Conference has showed us this is a crazy year for the Western Conference. I think we got an upset here with San Jose.
Yeah, I'm gonna go against you on this one. I'm gonna go Seattle.
Go Seattle.
Seattle had the Seattle had the midweek off because they were supposed to play Colorado, and obviously that's not happening. Colorado's not playing games for right now or for the foreseeable future, at least. It seems like
probably not forfeit the season by now.
I don't know, man. But Seattle's had more time to plan for San Jose, and the last time that these two teams played, I think Seattle scored like 7 goals. So I expect more of that. Maybe not that many, but I think that's what's going to happen here.
The fireworks should be flying, is what Tim is saying here. Awesome stuff. So next time we meet again, guys, which should be before our midweek game next week, we will go over the results again, and we will predict yet again. Good stuff there. Hopefully you guys are keeping track as well. All right, Tim, give me any last words for the listeners here today, man?
No, just enjoy the day, Brenden Aaronson Day. It's just a huge moment in Union history, so enjoy it, Union fans.
Absolutely. Union fans, look, we've gone through a lot over the last 10 years, and the battle's not over, guys. The battle's not over. We're starting to get some respect around the league. We're starting to get a little bit of respect around the world, and then the city, our own city, will come very soon, guys. You enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the game on Monday Night Football with your Union and New England. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. It would truly mean the world to us. That is Tim Lumberguth over there. I am at Parcero Philly, and we are telling you guys to DOOP on. We'll talk to you guys very soon.